Mapagpalang araw po sa ating lahat mula po rito sa Canada, sa Pilipinas o sa buong mundo. Kumusta po? Lalo na sa lahat ng ating mga kababayan na OFW at sa lahat po ng subscribers natin, shout out po sa inyong lahat at maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat mga kababayan. Ang video po na inyong mapapanood ay isang hearing ng Commission on Appointment na tinatalakay po ang questionable sa pagkakatalaga ni Undersecretary Erwin Tulfo sa DSWD. Kinwestiyon sa Kongreso headed by Congressman Marcolita, isa na dito ang US citizenship ni Erwin Tulfo mga kababayan. Ang pinakamabigat dito ay ang siya ay may kasong convicted cyber libel mga kababayan. Alam nyo kasi ang mga ganitong kaso o issue, ito po ay walang karapatang makakuha ng pwesto sa gobyerno o manungkulan o magtrabaho. Kaya ginigisa po ngayon si Erwin Tulfo. Panoorin po natin ang video mga kababayan. Pero bago po yan, please click subscribe button and notification bell para po lagi po tayong updated sa mga video po ating i-upload. Let's watch the video. Alright? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Secretary, I follow up to the question of my colleague, Congressman Malapitan. It's about your being an enlisted personnel of the United States Army for several years, and you have been in active military service stationed in Europe from 1992 to 1996. Correct me if I'm wrong, but to be an enlisted personnel in the U.S. Army, either you are a citizen by birth, meaning to say you are a U.S. citizen, or you have acquired U.S. citizenship by naturalization, or that you are a lawful permanent resident. Under what circumstances did you, what is the status of your citizenship when you were enlisted member of the U.S. Army and when you serve as an active military service station in Europe, sir?
Mr. Chair, with all due respect, Congressman Marcoleta, I think the good secretary has asked for the executive session with regard to your question.
Okay,
Maybe
and there's another question.
Jump to another question.
My other question, Mr. Secretary, also appears in the report of the Commission. This is the PIR, the Profile Investigation Report, because it is indicated here that you were also convicted 4 times in the RTC in Pasay City. Is this still covered by the executive?
So it was centered only on the citizenship.
Okay.
Can I answer that, Your Honor, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please, Mr. Secretary.
That case is related to my profession as a journalist, Your Honor, Mr. Chair. There was a conviction, that's correct, but it is because of my line of work as a journalist. It's a libel, 4 counts of libel. Same individual, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
What does that exactly mean, Mr. Secretary, if you were convicted 4 times in a case involving a single individual
No,
What do you- what
it's
do you-
not for convictions, actually, it's the count, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, 4 counts of libel that I was convicted by the same individual. I was a columnist and I write a story about the person, about the government official, actually. And I have my sources and I was compelled by the court to divulge my sources, but I did not. So it went all the way up to the Court of Appeals and to the Supreme Court, Your Honor, Mr. Chair. And
Yes,
law.
that is exactly the point, Mr. Chair. There are 4 counts of libel and you were convicted by the Pasay Court, and on appeal, the Court of Appeals affirmed the conviction all the way up to the Supreme Court. And so, by record, and as it appears in the file report, Mr. Secretary, it stands as a fact that you were convicted counts of libel. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. I admit that there was a case, but it was, like I said, in line with my work as a journalist, and it's one of the hazards of the trade, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
Well, of course, you were precisely convicted because of your work. You are a journalist, but that does not change the situation. You can be convicted either way in any other vocation, but the fact stands that there is a conviction. The problem we're trying to press out here, Mr. Chair, is whether or not his conviction will be an issue in the process of confirmation, because as the Supreme Court enunciated in several cases, Mr. Chair, libel is an offense that involves moral turpitude. And in some other cases disposed by the Supreme Court, there were certain people who were disqualified from holding positions because they have been convicted of crimes involving moral turpitude. This is the dilemma, Mr. Secretary. Of course, I am in support of your confirmation as Secretary of DSWD, and I believe you have just succeeded in proving to our people that you are qualified. But this is a problem that we need to trace out, Mr. Chair. How do we dispose this dilemma before us? Because it is in the report. I could not have asked you this question, Mr. Secretary, if it did not appear in the report submitted to us by the Commission on Appointments. Mr. Chair, thank
The
you.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, considering that there was a request and the line of questioning will be tackled within the executive session, since we are a collegial body, we have to tackle this as a group. So may I suggest and reiterate, Mr. Chair, that we proceed for an executive session. So move, Mr. Chair.
Okay, there's a motion duly seconded.
Mr. Chair.
Honorable Escudero.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do take note of the comments of Congressman Marcoleta. However, I would like to state for the record as well that there are many pending bills, both in the House and in the Senate, to decriminalize libel. In fact, the visit by our own DOJ Secretary to the United Nations, that was in fact even suggested by the Canadian representative. And I myself am an author of a bill seeking to decriminalize libel. So if this would be taken against the nominee, and later on that bill is approved by Congress, I think it would be prejudicial, to say the least, and unfair if he would be taking that against him. Just for the consideration of the committee, Mr. Chairman, when we go into caucus later. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Escudero. So the body would like to proceed to the executive session already, or
May tanong ako.
we still have Senator JV, Lani, Senator Estrada, and Senator Cheese would want to ask questions. So what is the pleasure of the body?
Mr. Chair, my question is no relation to the two issues with regards to his case and his citizenship. It is regarding the program of the DSWD.
Okay. So
Mr.
there's a
Chair.
pending motion which has been duly seconded.
Yeah, reiterate, there's an early request suggestion of our colleagues. I move to suspend committee deliberation and proceed to have an executive session, Mr. Chair. And we can proceed with questioning after.